Hello there. Welcome to the Schwowin's Nest. My name is Sandra, and I'm so glad you're here. The projects I'm working on today are inspired by high-end retail prices. This is a home sign that was on Etsy for $62. I don't think so. I've got this barn that I picked up at the Dollar Tree during Valentine's. I've already pre-painted it white, and what I'm doing now is just using a pencil and a ruler to create some shiplap lines. I like to take my finger and then just sort of smudge the pencil lines just so they're not quite so harsh, and this just makes it look a little bit more rustic too. Now I'm going to use some of the antique wax and just go around the roof line on the side because the little frame that you see on the upper left corner there goes on top of the barn, and I want the brown to kind of go right around to the back. Now, the project that I'm doing was inspired by that Etsy project. It's not going to be 100% the same, but I think it's going to turn out just as cute, and it's only going to cost me probably a couple bucks. I did add some of the antique wax to this little frame piece because I wanted it to be a little bit darker, and now I'm just hot gluing it into place. This round also came from the Dollar Tree. I have pre-painted it white. I had used it for a different project, so it just needed one coat to cover up that stuff. And I have tons of spindles. I love using spindles, and I thought this would be the perfect project for it. I'm just hot gluing the spindle right down onto the wood round. I'm giving the wood round and the spindle a coat of white paint again because I wanted the colors to be the same. The spindle colors aren't exactly the same color as my white, so I wanted everything to look the same. Now, if you don't have a spindle, you could also just use a candlestick. You could use some of the wood pieces that are available at the Dollar Tree and just make it a straight up and down wood piece. That would look really cute too. The inspiration sign said home. I've made so many home signs. I wanted to do something a little different. So I decided to do Farm Sweet Farm. And this is a Cricut design, but it will be available on my website as a free printable for you. And what I decided to do was use a chicken for the A in the top word farm, and then I used a cow for the M in the bottom word farm. And I think it turned out really cute. I decided that the wood round needed some walnut stain as well. This is actually the antiquing wax again. And I'm just going to cover the whole thing, including the sides. And then once I've got it all covered, I'll just use a cloth and wipe it back. I wanted a little bit of brown at the bottom so it would balance out the brown of the roof on the top. To add even a little bit more distressing, I'm using the same brush that I used to apply the wax. I'm just going over the corners and just kind of dry brushing a little bit to accentuate all of the lines on here. And I really like this look. I think it just makes it all come together as one beautiful decor piece. Now it's time for assembly. I'm going to use hot glue and put the barn right on top, making sure I get it nicely centered. Once this is really good and dry, I'm going to just go over the part of the spindle that's still sticking out with some white paint. I really love how this sign turned out, and that inspiration piece, although it was very expensive, was very cute on its own too. But I like mine just as well. Check out this rolling cart. I was sent this by a company called Costway, and I want to show you how super easy it was to assemble. I thought it was going to take me some time, but oh my gosh, less than 5 minutes from opening the box and getting it fully assembled. It was a really nice compact box. You can see it wouldn't have been that big for transport. It really lightweight but sturdy material. I'm just going to be taking everything apart, and what I'm going to be ending up with is two side pieces, 5 baskets, 4 rolling feet that are going to pop into the bottom, and one little bar that has some hooks on it. Costway.com aims to provide their customers with the exact products they're looking for in high quality and a favorable price, and they also want to make the shopping experience easy, safe, and convenient for their consumers. Now that everything is laid out and I know where I'm headed, I'm going to start by just putting the casters in on the bottom. 2 of them are locking casters and 2 of them are not. So it doesn't matter if you put them on both on the same side or one on each side. I decided to put one locking caster on each side of the tray. So I'm just going to be pushing them in, super easy, as you can see me doing here. You could probably put this together yourself if you were on carpet, but because I was on floor, they kept slipping all over the place. So I just asked my hubby to hang on to the one side for me. There are no screws, nuts, bolts, or anything to put this together. You simply just take the basket and place it over the side bars and just push it into place. And it's the baskets that hold the sides together. This is so neat. I really was impressed with the quality and how this was made. So easy to put together. The last thing to do was just to put the hooks on, and I was ready to fill it up with all my craft supplies. Here I am in my upstairs hallway right outside my craft room, and I'm starting to put things together. So I've got my Costway rolling cart. I've already added some brushes to the side of the little hooks there, and now I'm adding in some of my paints. I have had paints in a multiple different spots in my craft room, so having them all in one spot is going to be so handy. I'm just going to keep filling this up, and then I'm going to roll it into my craft room and show you where it is. The cart found a spot right in between some shelving and my craft table. It's right within arm's reach, so I can grab everything. It's all at my fingertips. It really is a beautiful piece of furniture, and it's making my crafting life so much easier having everything organized right next to where I'm working. Make sure you check out the Costway website. I'll have a link for their site down in my description box, along with the link to the rolling cart that you saw me assemble and use here in this video. Costway has graciously offered all of my viewers a 10% off discount. So please go ahead, shop to your heart's content, and find something that will really make your home stand out. The inspiration for my next project was, I believe, off of a website. I think it might have been Wayfair. I just Googled lanterns. I love these metal lanterns, and I just thought I would try to make something similar to this one. Now, mine's not going to have glass in it, and I am going to be using wood instead of metal. But the first thing I'm doing here is just taking some of these wood beads and gluing them down to the bottom of this honeycomb shape. This is something that I picked up at Michael's. I know I've seen them at the Dollar Tree as well, but I don't have any of them at my Dollar Tree, so I had to find something at Michael's. But this is going to work just fine. Next, I'm taking some wooden dowels that I did get from the Dollar Tree, and I'm gluing them into each of the corners of this hexagon shape. Now, originally I had bought 3 of these. I'm only going to start off using 2, one for the bottom and one for the top. But later on, you're going to see me pull this all apart and put another one at the bottom. I just needed the bottom to be a little heftier. One thing to note is you want to make sure that your dowels are standing up nice and straight and they're not on a kitty wampus or anything, because otherwise it'll make the lantern look funny. Now I'm just going to flip the bottom over and then add some hot glue and put both of the dowels right in the spot there. Same way I did it for the bottom, and unfortunately you can't really see it here, but you'll see it in a second. I'll have all 4 of them glued together. So once I had the dowels glued in, I realized that I did do them crooked and they weren't standing the same way as the beads. So what I'm doing here is just adding another bead on either side, and I'll just have 6 beads along the bottom. When I'm out thrifting, I'm always on the lookout for drawer pulls and drawer handles like this. I think I got 10 in a pack for $2 or $3. So I'm just going to use some hot glue, and I'm going to use this as my top. Now, I don't necessarily always do my looks for less or dupes or anything like that 100% the exact same way as the inspiration. That's why it's called inspiration. Use what you have. If you don't have a hexagon shape, use a square shape or a round shape. It really doesn't matter. You can just create based on what you have in stock in your stash or what you can find at the stores. I am using my new favorite paint. It's Folk Art Multi-Surface Satin Acrylic Paint. This stuff covers like nothing I've seen before. Even sometimes your chalk paint, you have to do double coats. I didn't have to do that for this. I got superior coverage right in one coat, and I'm so excited because that's saving me so much time and it's saving me so much product. It goes such a long way. I'll have a link for that type of paint down in my description box. So if you're interested in it, it'll be a link to Amazon and you'll be able to choose from all the colors that are available. So here is where things changed. I ended up wanting a thicker base, as I mentioned earlier. So I pulled off all of the dowels that were glued into this bottom one. And now I'm taking the other one that I have and gluing that on top of this one. Then I'm going to just re-glue the dowels right into the same corners again. And I'm not going to make you watch me go through that whole process again. I think you probably get the idea. So I painted everything black again. All of that new stuff was painted all over again. And now I'm just taking a little chip brush and adding some of that antiquing wax. This is going to just make this black even richer and give it more of a dimensional look rather than just the flat black. I am going to be wiping some of it off because I don't want it to be brown in color. I want the black just to be enhanced. And I'm going to do this for all surfaces here, even the handle. Here's a look at what the base looks now that it has both the pieces on there, and I just think it gives it a lot better of a look, more of a high-end look, I guess. The other thing I did was I left out one of the dowels. So instead of putting all 6 of them back in, I left one out because that is going to give me the ability to put bigger things inside the lantern. If I would leave all 6 of them in there, I'd be very limited as to what I could get in there. So there wouldn't be any big candles showing up in this lantern. But anyhow, I love how it turned out and I hope you like it too. If you are still with me, thank you so much for sticking around. If you haven't already done so, I'd love it if you could hit that red subscribe button and help my channel grow. Thanks so much to all of you who have already subscribed. I really appreciate it. This project is inspired by something I saw on the Kirkland's website, and it was this cute little windmill frame. And I thought, that's super easy to do. I've got these windmills from the Dollar Tree. Of course, they were garden stakes, but no worries. I just trimmed off all of the extra little pieces that I didn't need. What I'm doing now is taking more of those dowels and I'm going to be gluing them onto the backside of the windmill. Once those are dry, I'm going to flip it around and then start making the crisscross or X kind of pattern that the windmill has. I'm just using a pair of wood pliers to cut all of these dowels. My miter shears, I love them, but the blade is really dull. So I'm trying to debate on whether I should just get a complete other set or just try and replace the blades. Anyhow, as I started doing this, I realized this is not what I want to do, so I'm taking it apart and starting over. And that seems to be the theme of this video today. I'm just using hot glue to put all these dowels together, and a little bit is going to seep out the sides because of the smallness of the dowels, But I'm okay with that because when you see metal things that are soldered together, there's always a little bit of a lump and a bump at all the seams. And so I thought it would look a little bit more rustic. Once I'm done this side, I'm going to flip it over and do some other pieces on the other side. And that's when things changed again. I started to add some to the other side, and then I thought, nah, I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I like it the way it looks, and I just didn't want to get into too much going on. So I'm taking my same multi-surface black paint, and I'm going to give the whole bottom part of these dowels a really good coat. Again, just one coat will do, but I want to make sure I get into all the little nooks and crannies. Here I've got two pieces that are kind of going to make my frame. I've got a little bamboo soap dish. So instead of doing the frame, I decided to make this a little shelf. I'm going to go ahead and glue this right to my little fence sign here. Now I think I've seen some of these at the Dollar Tree, but this came from a garage sale. It was, I think, a crafting place where this lady had all sorts of stuff. Anyhow, I'm gluing them all together and now I'm giving them a couple of coats of my white DIY chalk paint. The bottom of the windmill is now dry and I'm just taking a stencil brush, and I like the stencil brushes because they're nice and rough, so they give you more of a dry brush look. I'm just using some silver and I'm going across all of the pieces there to make them blend in with the original color of the windmill. I like the black and the silver on this one, so I'm not going to do anything different with it. Of course, I wanted to distress this piece. I didn't want it to be that stark white with the black. So I'm just using my large chip brush and some black paint and just going through it kind of on the heavier side, but that's okay. I'll make sure I get this little shelf too. Again, I'm going to use hot glue to glue the windmill right to the little fence sign. And I'm using quite a bit of glue, but again, I'm just going to hold it in place until it sets. It was a little wiggly, and I'm using this little tool from the Dollar Tree just to kind of pull off some of the excess hot glue that squeezes out all the time. I just took a little terracotta pot, painted it black, and now I'm dry brushing some of the silver so it blends in really well with the windmill. I'm going to be adding some hot glue to the bottom of the pot. I've already got some daisies stuck in a little piece of pool noodle, and I'm going to just glue that right into the pot. And this is all complete. I think the daisies were so cute as an addition for a little farmhouse sign. I really hope you enjoyed these inspired farmhouse designs using really inexpensive dollar store items. Don't forget to check out the Costway website and use your coupon code for 10% off your first purchase. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this kind of content, give me a thumbs up. That lets me know you like it and you want more, and it also gets me noticed more on YouTube. Bye for now.